والكهنة والشمامسة وكل الشعب المحب للمسيح اتفقنا جميعا بطيب قلب فانتخبنا الأنبا شنودة بابا وبطريرك ورئيس أساقفة للكرسي الرسولي، كرسي القديس مرقس الإنجيلي.
As an accomplished scholar in Christian education, a steadfast devotee to the monastic life, a true shepherd to the flock, a fervent preacher of the word to all nations, and laborer towards peace and unity, His Holiness Pope Shenouda III has ushered the Coptic Orthodox Church into a prolific era. A man of God his entire life, His Holiness Pope Shenouda III had a profound love for God and the Church from a very early age. By the age of 16, he was active in the Sunday school movement and later founded the youth meetings of the Coptic Orthodox Church. When His Holiness graduated from Cairo University, he joined the Coptic Orthodox Seminary and upon graduation joined the faculty of the seminary. In 1954, His Holiness chose the solitude of the Egyptian desert and the angelic life of monasticism over life in the world. As a monk and later a monk priest, Father Antonios El Soriani became a hermit and lived in a cave for a period of 6 years. In 1962, he was called by the late Pope Kyrillos VI to be consecrated Bishop of Christian Education and Dean of the Coptic Orthodox Theological Seminary. His deep spiritual and educational background has largely determined the direction of the present movements of Christian education. On November 14, 1971, after the departure of His Holiness Pope Kyrillos VI, His Grace Bishop Shenouda was consecrated as His Holiness Pope Shenouda III, 117th Pope of Alexandria and Patriarch of the See of St. Mark. A profound theologian, a gifted preacher, a talented author, and a spiritual father, His Holiness Pope Shenouda III is indeed a chosen vessel of our Lord. Although His Holiness has traveled the world over, his heart remains that of a simple hermit. His love for the ascetic life has been reflected in the monastic revival he has initiated over the last 30 years of his blessed papacy. His Holiness has been instrumental in rebuilding and renovating many deserted monasteries that had previously been neglected. His papacy gave birth to 8 monasteries outside of Egypt, located on 4 continents: Africa, Australia, Europe, and North America. His Holiness's zeal for the ascetic life has inspired many within the Church to answer the call to consecrate their lives and serve God through the monastic life. His Holiness has also given special attention to the ministry of women in the Coptic Church. Thousands of female servants teach catechism in Sunday school, youth meetings, and family meetings. There are also women that teach in the Coptic Institute and the Biblical Institute, not to mention the many women who serve in the fields of social work, medicine, and education. By establishing an order for deaconesses, His Holiness Pope Shenouda III has significantly enhanced the role of women within the Coptic Church. His Holiness commented on the importance of women in the Church, saying, "We want girls and women to give their lives to God to serve the Church. Lay people not only accept the special service of deaconesses and consecrated girls, but also respect it and need it." As head of the oldest and largest church in Africa, His Holiness Pope Shenouda III has made it a priority to extend the apostolic mission of St. Mark across all of Africa. In June 1976, His Holiness ordained His Grace Bishop Antonios Marcos, Bishop of African Affairs. Then in June 1995, His Holiness ordained His Grace Bishop Boulos as Bishop for Mission and Evangelism. Both of their graces have tirelessly trekked the African continent, bringing all to the light of Jesus Christ. Their service has borne fruit in the form of thousands of converts to the Lord. And while the African missions have flourished under the guidance of His Holiness, His love for Christ has also brought great strides in introducing the gospel to South America, the Caribbean, and Europe. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. His Holiness is a peacemaker indeed, for his efforts towards unity and peace are not limited to Egypt, but have extended to the world at large. Pope Shenouda has met with various world leaders throughout the years in order to further peace and to construct what he refers to as bridges of love. On many occasions, His Holiness has spoken out advocating for the weak and called on all to act with a spirit of cooperation and unity. In recognition of His Holiness's international efforts, on November 16, 2000, His Holiness was presented with the UNESCO Prize for the promotion of tolerance and nonviolence. His Holiness is also well known for his deep commitment to Christian unity. In all his ecumenical endeavors, he has stood out as a great Christian leader who can be described as the Saint Athanasius of the 20th century. Over the past 30 years, His Holiness has invested tremendous time and effort to expand the role of the Coptic Orthodox Church in theological dialogues and participation in ecumenical bodies and conferences. His Holiness has emphasized that Christian unity must be founded upon a unity of faith and not upon a unity of jurisdiction. To this end, His Holiness has initiated and closely monitored theological dialogue with the Eastern Orthodox Church, Roman Catholic, Anglican and Presbyterian churches, the Swedish Church, and the World Alliance of Reformed Churches. The restoration of full communion between the two families of Orthodoxy is particularly an ecumenical priority for Pope Shenouda. Following a series of preliminary consultations, His Holiness advocated the commencement of official dialogue between the two families of Orthodoxy. In early 1985, an international commission for the inter-Orthodox theological dialogue was established. In June 1989, His Holiness chaired the conference of the commission and guided the conference in adopting the Christological formula of St. Cyril of Alexandria. On November 12, 1990, following the historic meeting of the commission in Switzerland, His Holiness convened a special sitting of the Holy Synod, during which the Christological formula was ratified, the baptisms of the Eastern Orthodox churches were recognized, and an agreement was reached to begin the process of lifting the anathemas on the Eastern Orthodox fathers and councils. His Holiness has also worked to strengthen relations with the Catholic Church. In May 1973, His Holiness Pope Shenouda III paid a historic visit to His Holiness the late Pope Paul VI in Rome. This was the first meeting between an Alexandrian and Roman pontiff since the time of the Great Schism of 451 AD. Both popes signed a common declaration containing, among other things, a confession of common faith in the mystery of the Word incarnate. Following this historic encounter, a joint commission was established to explore the road to full intercommunication between the two apostolic churches. The efforts of the commission produced an agreed statement on Christology, which was signed by Pope Shenouda on the 12th of February 1988. His Holiness has also included the Anglican Church in his ecumenical efforts. In October 1987, His Holiness and the former Archbishop of Canterbury, the Most Reverend Dr. Robert Runcie, signed the first ever declaration between the leaders of the Coptic Orthodox and Anglican churches expressing mutual commitment towards full unity. In March 1990, His Holiness chaired the meeting of the Oriental Orthodox Anglican Forum and stated that all dialogue should be based on biblical teachings. Fostering amicable relations with other churches has been of great significance to His Holiness. His ecumenical work is much too extensive to comprehensively discuss here. Pope Shenouda has not only worked for unity with individual churches, but has also taken leadership roles in various international ecumenical organizations. He has given particular attention to the Coptic Church's involvement in the Middle East Council of Churches and the All-Africa Conference of Churches. In February 1991, His Holiness headed a delegation of 11 members of the Coptic Orthodox Church to the 7th Assembly of the World Council of Churches in Canberra, Australia. At the conclusion of the assembly, His Holiness was elected as one of 8 presidents of the World Council of Churches, representing the Oriental Orthodox Churches and the Middle East region. In November 1994, His Holiness headed a delegation of 7 members to the Middle East Council of Churches at its assembly in Cyprus and was later elected one of the 4 presidents of the Middle East Council of Churches. In no way can this small presentation wholly encompass the full magnitude and importance of His Holiness's work. We ask that God continue to bless us for many years with the treasure that is His service.